Joining us to talk more about this is Steve Case. He's also a member of the Jobs Council. Steve, great to have you here on Street Smart. What did you hear from the president today that you think was new and significant?
Well, I think the main thing is being in states like North Carolina that do have high unemployment and talking about the priority of trying to create jobs and get the economy moving. The Jobs Council just started about 3 months ago. I think Jeff Immelt from GE, who chairs it, is doing a good job of organizing it into subgroups. And people really are working, spending time. Their weekly calls to identify priorities and then work to them. And my focus has been on the issues related to entrepreneurship, particularly high growth companies. One of the things the president talked about, which shows that he really kind of understands this, is that the high-growth companies really have created all the net jobs over the last 25 years. 40 million jobs, according to the Kauffman Foundation, have been created by these entrepreneurial companies. So supporting entrepreneurship, recognizing it really is the secret sauce that's driven America, is a key priority of the Jobs Council.
All right, so if that's a key priority, Steve, then what needs to be done to help those young and upcoming companies, since that's where the jobs are being created?
Well, we're working on a roadmap for entrepreneurship to try to really make sure that it's easier to start companies, either ramp companies, and either also to speed up companies. And some of that's through the Jobs Council, some of that's through the effort of an initiative called Startup America Partnership that I chair. And also tomorrow in D.C., the National Advisory Council on Innovation and Entrepreneurship is releasing a report on access to capital, identifying 8 things that they think can move the needle. So it's not any one kind of solution. It's really a tapestry of things that really can get things moving.
Steve, one of the things, Matt Miller here from Bloomberg, one of the things we've been hearing a lot about is immigration. One, that visas need to be given out more easily to promote tourism, but also, we let people from China, from India, from other countries come over here, and then we train them at our great universities, and then we send them home. We don't let them start businesses over here. Is that something that we need to change?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy what we do, and it was a topic of the council, and the president talked about this as well. He made exactly that point. He said we have great educational systems, we lure people here, but then we kind of send them away, and the whole process of stapling a green card to a diploma and really encouraging people to stay here, looking at things like the startup visa policy are important. Right now it's kind of tied up in the politics of comprehensive immigration reform, but hopefully people will recognize the jobs and economy aspect really is front and center and figure out some way to get at least some parts of that moving quickly.
Steve, you've been tweeting and you talk about talking with the president specifically, Sheryl Sandberg over at Facebook, John Doerr, a well-known venture capitalist out there on the West Coast. You guys met and we're talking also after the president's official speech today. What were the things that you were talking about the most? I mean, what are your biggest concerns here? Is it the high corporate tax rates? What is it?
Well, I think the key is really entrepreneurship. And what I was talking to him specifically about was he had mentioned that when he gets up every morning, the first thing he focuses on is jobs and because of the unemployment. I suggested the second thing he focused on is entrepreneurship, because that's the best way to drive the jobs. And he said he totally agreed that those really are joined in his mind. So I think celebrating entrepreneurs, if you look at America, was built by entrepreneurs. Cities like Durham were built by entrepreneurs. So really recognizing that, celebrating that, and making sure in the future we've got all the infrastructure in place to do that. It's important. That's my day job, obviously, is trying to invest in and mentor companies like Zipcar and Living Social, some of the things I do through Revolution. So I'm not just talking about it, I'm actually trying to do it. I think all of us need to get out there and try to do it to help this next generation of entrepreneurs build great companies, that build great industries, that create lots of jobs and ensure our competitiveness in what is clearly an increasingly intense competitive world out there.
One of the things, obviously, Steve, that entrepreneurs need is cash. They need money. And we talk about giving money to small businesses, loaning money to small businesses, encouraging banks to do that. This is something the Obama administration's been working on for 4 years already. I mean, the Goldman Sachs has gotten together with Glenn Hubbard, with the greatest minds in the country, to try and encourage small business loans, and it doesn't seem to be moving. Why is that?
Well, I think there's some progress on that front, but one of the things we talked about with Karen Mills, who heads the Small Business Administration, is really streamlining the process. There are a lot of things out there that are helpful to entrepreneurs, but they don't necessarily know about them or have easy ways to access them. So it's really navigating through the SBA is a key priority that the Jobs Council talked about. But there are great success stories. We heard about one today. Last week I talked to Kevin Plank, the founder of Under Armour, a very successful global company now in athletic wear. He said they couldn't have gotten started without, I think it was a $250,000 loan they got that was largely guaranteed by the SBA. So they're doing good things. We just need to figure out how to take it to the next step. And also recognize that in terms of access to capital, it really isn't one size fits all. Certainly have access to capital if you're a social media company in Silicon Valley, but you don't necessarily have access if you're in regions like North Carolina or many other regions around the country or other sectors. So it's providing early access in terms of seed angel capital, also the expansion capital, make it easier for companies to go public, looking at some of the regulations around that. There's a whole series of things that we need to look at related to access to capital, but debt financing is part of it. The SBA loan guarantee program, if we figure out a better way to give entrepreneurs access to those tools, I think can be helpful.
And Steve, Jeff Immelt outlined everything very nicely in the Wall Street Journal today about what we kind of need to have done, laid out those plans, kind of those fast action steps that need to be done. Bottom line, do you think we have a business-friendly White House now?
I think it's becoming more business friendly. I think they would say the first couple of years they're focused on stabilizing the situation. Now they're focused more on growth and expansion. I think that's fair. There have been a lot of issues they focused on. But the Jobs Council is not a partisan group. I think we're not here as Republicans or Democrats. We're really here as Americans. And I'm here as an entrepreneurial American, really trying to drive that side of things. So there's a job for the White House. There's a job for Congress. There's also a job for the private sector. Mm-hmm. And what people who are part of this Jobs Council are trying to do is doing their part to create jobs and get this economy moving.
Going to leave it on that note. Steve, thank you so much. I know it's been a busy day for you guys, and thank you for carving out some time for us. Steve Case joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
You bet.